Alright guys, let's begin this week's episode. Space Grunts 2, devlog number 12. Pretty sure this is devlog number 12 and I can't check it because my laptop isn't here. Anyway, the game is now in early access and has been since last Tuesday or Tuesday 2 weeks ago if you're watching this. It's been in early access and so far the responses have been pretty positive. I got some good feedback by email, I got some feedback on the Steam forum, even people talking about it on Discord, so all pretty positive, pretty great, because that gives me a lot of motivation and extra energy to keep working on the game, which is required because this is early access and we still have a few milestones left. Well, to be honest, I didn't really have much milestones until I started recording this video because I need to set some milestones. The first one was in September, release it in early access. Checkbox, check it. Done. Which means the biggest milestone is pretty much release the full game on Steam, on PC, iPhone and Android. I'm setting the date for that November or December.
What?
End November, early December. That's really what I'm aiming for, to have it on iPhone in December on the App Store and on Android as well. And then hopefully also have a full version, or at least in such a way that I'm pleased with the game. So everything that I really want in the game has to be done by end of November. That means a lot. That means there are a couple of big things that I still need to add to the game. And this video is gonna list them all. Luckily it's not a very long list, it's just 4 or 5 main things that I really want to add to the game to call this game completed. So let's just list them in order of appearance, starting with number 1. An ending. If you've been following me and been following all my games, and I've mentioned this before in videos, I'm terrible at adding end bosses and things like that to games. So again, for this game I need some proper ending, some goal that the player is working towards, and I haven't really decided yet on what it's gonna be. I know end bosses are very natural for most games, but I just don't feel the whole concept of an end boss. So I'm still deciding and wondering what it could be, but there need to be an ending, there need to be something you are working towards in this game. So that's a very big feature that needs to be added, but I'm not sure yet what it's gonna be. But that's the first one, an ending or an end boss or an end goal. Bringing us to number 2 of the features that need to be added to Space Grunts 2 to call it complete. So feature number 2 is dialogues and tutorial type information. Pretty much I watched some people play for the first time and they run into items and have no idea what is this and what can I do with it, and there just need to be a little bit of information there. So the first time you encounter certain things, there has to be some information popping up telling you blah-de-blah, blah-de-blah-blah. My idea is to have some form of communicator, so like you're beaming down to the planet, so that means there are other people on a spaceship waiting for you to beam you back, probably. So we're gonna add a little avatar guy that pretty much gives you information and talks to you and gives these information and hints and boxes. So what this really boils down to is nice and pretty looking dialogues and information, and it's not a huge feature to add, it's mostly just figuring out where do I want to add this and what kind of information do I need to add and want to add and things like that. So it's important because it helps the player ease into the game, and it's not going to be a big feature to do. So that's feature number 2, bringing us to feature number 3. Alright, feature number 3 is not so much a game feature, but more for me, I need to have this game up and running on iPhone and Android. So I need to create a mobile version, which mostly comes down to having all the interface and all the interaction workable with touch controls. So that's a lot of testing to make sure that the touch screen handles everything, and swiping the cards, moving the cards and moving the player around and all the items in the menus, and it's gonna be a lot of work and make sure everything fits on the screen, but it needs to be done. So I think this is one of the bigger tasks. And then I also need to set up the store pages for the iPhone version and the Android version. So there's a lot of extra work there, not related to game programming, but just store management. I don't know. Anyway, next feature. Daily challenges. Space Grunts 1 had a daily challenge. Basically, you can start Space Grunts 1 today and then you get a daily challenge. Everybody has the same level and you just try to get as far as possible. And when I was researching for this game, I played my own game a lot, Space Grunts 1. And the daily challenge is just very interesting and entertaining to do. You can just boot up the game once a day, have a little fun with it, play around, try to get as far as possible, and you know you only have one chance to do it. So if you die in like level 1, you have a bad day. But if you manage to make it to level 10 or 11, you feel pretty good about yourself. And yes, I managed to do that at least a few days. Well, a couple of days in all those months, I made it to level 11 or 12 or something. So it gives you a great feeling, and I'm gonna add it to this game as well because I think it's a great feature, daily challenge. So that needs to be added before the final release, and it's gonna be on all platforms as well. So iPhone, Android, and PC, Steam, daily challenges. Alright, a database or codec feature has to be added to this game. I've been adding it to almost all my previous games. It's basically a little database or hand manual that contains all the information about all the items that you've been picking up in all your games, or all the creatures you've encountered so far, and you can see if you missed anything or if there's still stuff to unlock, and all the information about these creatures, how weak are they, what's their strength, how to best tackle them, and things like that is all added to that database. And the fun thing is that most of this data is already in the game. It just needs to be presented to the player. So it's not a lot of work. I guess this is gonna be like 1 or 2 days just to have a full codex working. It's mostly just making it pretty for the player and just functional. So all that data is turned into text, and it's an interesting addition to any game, I think. And it's very easy to add, so let's add it. Alright, so the final feature is special cards. Now, this feature, as I'm recording this, is already working in the game. I just need to test it a little bit more. So by the time this video goes up, it should be available in the latest version of the game. Basically, the special cards are what you get for increasing your experience or your level. So if you level up during a level, does that make sense? That makes sense. If you level up in experience during a level, between the 2 levels, you'll get a little screen where you can select a special card. There will be 3 cards shown. You get to pick one, and every time you level up, you'll get this screen and 3 random cards show up, and you get to pick one and one and one until you have picked them all. Basically, what these special cards do is change you or improve you or modify the game in some way. So for example, one of these special cards in the game right now is called Boring, and basically if you have this card, there's like a 30% chance that the enemy you're attacking falls asleep, which makes it a lot easier to attack him. Things like that are the special cards. I'll probably come up with a few more ideas and I'll be adding them to the game as we go. The interface is already done, so the system is up and running as you're watching this, and it adds a lot to the gameplay already. So those are really like the big main features that I still need to add before I can call this game completed. But besides those, there are a bunch of little things that I will be doing as well. Things like continue and save games that needs to be added still. There are lots of other type of creatures I want to add, new cards that I need to add, more special cards that I want to add, and the list is longer than that, but these big features are like really big tasks that need to be done, and everything else is just done in between. Now, I also had some people ask me about Gunslugs, my previous game, and why I don't talk about it anymore, but basically the game didn't do very well or not as good as I wanted to, and that's really why I've been diving into Space Grunts 2, also to get rid of the negativity of people not picking it up. The press is not talking about it. Nobody picked it up. Nobody even bothered to look at it except a couple of players, and out of those players, the people who are negative are most vocal. So I had a lot of negativity about the game coming my way, even though I know the game is great and good and it's not terrible or anything. So it's a lot of stuff to talk about in one of the future videos. I'll get back to Gunslugs. Don't worry, I'll talk about it in a later video before the year ends. But right now, Space Grunts 2 is the thing I'm concentrating on and focusing on and getting it completed and done before the year ends. I'm actually already working on another game as well, but we'll get to that in another video. Ignore what I said, right? So leave a comment below what you think about Space Grunts and how it's evolving, and anything you want to say and maybe you're in next week's video. So let's see what last week's video comments were. It was a Let's Play Space Grunts 2, and I asked you guys if you wanted to see more of these Let's Play on this channel. Not that it's going to be an exclusive Let's Play channel, because that's not who I am. I don't want to just keep playing games and show you. I'm still a game developer, not a gamer. So the comments. Umesh Yenman said, I like to see more you play and tell more about game design. And that's exactly what I wanted to do with these type of videos, because I'm gonna play my own games and talk about the decisions or how certain things came to be in a certain game. So, and there's a lot of games I can still pick up for that. Parakits Finigini, sorry if I pronounce it wrong, but I like this style of video, so that's 2 thumbs up. I don't like this type of videos by Italital. Yeah, that's possible. Yeah. Jesus Element said, nice gameplay, bro. Well, thank you, sir. It helps if you know the game. Then you can do a very good gameplay. And Andrew Gonzalez said, the game looks so awesome. One question, are the maps procedural generated? Yes, they are. And I think I talked about it and the full explanation of how I do it in DEVLOG 2 or 3, maybe even 1. Very early of these Space Grunts DEVLOGs. So go check out that video for a full explanation on it. Alright, and those are the comments on last week's video. So leave a comment on this video and I might just talk about it next week. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Bye. Oh, that was a failure.